So here we are on Millennium Square, which is a meeting point of our human geography trip about the Bristol Harbourside regeneration. And the reason we picked this place is because although we don't use it as one of our sites this year, which is a change from all the previous other years, it's where the Bristol Regeneration of Docklands actually started. So behind me over here, you've got this, in my opinion, horrible building. And same for this one, built by Lloyds TBS, which is the bank. And the bank basically kick-started and funded the beginning of the Bristol dock regeneration. And so this was, call it phase one, is aged in its own way, not necessarily the best in my opinion. And it was, you basically now have the bank, you have behind me over there, you've got some escape rooms, you've got Pure Gym, you've got law firms and Hargreaves Lansdown, which is an investment company. You've got We the Curious Science Museum. A lot of these sheds have basically been redeveloped into tertiary sector industries. So yeah, we meet here because we want to show students how it all started, and then after that we'll show you two more recent regeneration projects, which are Finzel's Reach and here we are. Site number one is grey, it's damp, and it's derelict. But that's the whole point of today. The aim of today is for students to see what part of the Bristol Harbourside is being the most effectively regenerated. And behind me is the Harbourside, and we start here in Redcliffe Wharf, which is probably the last area of brownfield site along the harbour that hasn't been redeveloped. Students are collecting their 5 different data collection methods here, and then we're going to compare all our data to the brownfield site to see how the 2 different regenerated areas have compare and how they've improved the area. Site number 2, which is Finzel's Reach, which is an area of city centre of Bristol. You can see it here. They a few years ago added a little zigzag bridge all the way over to the River Frome. Just behind me there is Bristol Bridge, which is the original site where Bristol was built. And all these old industrial warehouses here have been regenerated. You can see some of the flats that are just over there. The BBC Natural Histories branch, you've got Channel 4, you've got David Attenborough headquarters basically all over there. It's between here and the train station and Temple Quarter. So a good area of how brownfield side of the city, which used to be warehouses, has been completely transformed, regenerated and gentrified to become a really valuable tertiary sector bit of the Bristol economy. So this is the third and final location. You can see it behind me. This is Wapping Wharf, and Wapping Wharf is an area just behind the M Shed, between Southville, the New Cut, and the floating harbour. That has been completely regenerated. So you can see it there. You've got these residential buildings with some flats. You've got a high street here with all the services you need, from barbers to like food stores, and you've got over there what we call the cargo works, which are shipping containers that have been stacked up, and in each shipping container you have a restaurant, you've got a cafe, and it's basically brought back an area of the docks that was completely derelict into somewhere that can actually be used for people. So this is the third location, and the idea is to compare this place along the harbour to Finzel's Reach. It's also famous for being the location of Bristol's jail, so I'll show you pictures of it. It's an area they've had to keep in the historical site, but it's actually used to be the jail of our city, home to Bristol's old jail. You can see it over there. It's called Gaol Ferry Steps because gaol is an old word for jail. In French we used to say geôle, and the jail is it's an evolution of that word. We've got the old jail here they've had to keep the facade of, and behind that jail you've got these brand new buildings here with a view down there of the cranes of the M Shed. You've got the cargo works you can see behind the car park. So kind of really classic example of what used to be derelict brownfield site has now been reused, repurposed to make, I wouldn't say affordable living, but to make living spaces for people in the city centre of Bristol. Complete regeneration and gentrification of an area that arguably at the time didn't have much community once it was left to become derelict.